Morning. In today class, we will discuss how to interpret data in order to calculate order of reaction and to find out the reactor rate constant. So, for example, if you have a chemical reaction in which A plus B react and to form R plus S, and the rate equation is this Ra equal to K times Ca. This here K is rate constant and Ca is concentration of reactant A. So this is rate equation with rate expression with respect to component A. Now this K means rate constant is a temperature dependent quantity and Ca is concentration of reactant A. It means the rate of reaction is temperature dependent and concentration dependent. In order to find out the dependency of temperature and concentration, this is a two-step process. In the first step, we fix the temperature and perform experiment at different concentration of reactant. So in that way we can calculate the concentration dependency of the rate. On the other hand, if we want to see temperature dependency of reaction, we perform experiment using at different temperature by maintaining fixed initial concentration of reactant. So in first case we fix the temperature and perform experiment using different concentration. In the second case we fix the initial concentration and perform experiment using different temperature. In that way we can calculate temperature and concentration dependency of reaction order. This temperature dependency is also explained in previous classes, in which the temperature dependency can be calculated with the help of Arrhenius law. In this class we mainly study concentration dependency terms, how in that we use different interpretation method to calculate rate constant and order of reaction. So for measuring concentration dependency of reaction, first of all we need to collect concentration versus time data, and with the help of concentration versus time data we interpret those data and calculate order of reaction and rate constant. So there are different methods for collecting data. First of all, you can directly collect concentration versus time data. Means if any reaction occur in the reactor, you take the sample at different time period and then make a table which represent concentration versus time data. On the other hand, there are several other methods, other indirect method from which you can calculate concentration. For example, by following change in some physical property of the fluid, such as its electrical conductivity and refractive index. In that you measure their physical property like conductivity and refractive index with respect to time. Then with the help of some correlations, you convert these data into uh, into concentration. So for example, if you collect refractive index value at different time period, then uh, with the help of derived correlation you can convert that refractive index value to the concentration value. On the other hand, especially in case of liquid phase gas phase reactions, if there are variation of number of mole of reactant and product. For example, if the reaction is A plus B gives product P, A plus B give product P. So in that case 2 mole of reactant give 1 mole of product. So the total number of reactant are higher than the total number of mole of product. It means when reaction proceeds, the total number of mole changes, and ultimately the volume of the, if you have constant volume system, then density the pressure of the system will change. On the other hand, if pressure is constant, then in that case the if pressure is constant, the volume will change with respect to time. So in that case we can also measure volume of the system for constant pressure reactor, or we can change volume for constant pressure system, and then convert these value into concentration. So I think it's a little bit consuming. In simplified form, uh, we measure for constant volume system, we measure pressure with respect to time and then convert that pressure value into concentration. Similarly, for constant pressure system, we measure total volume with respect to time and then convert that volume into concentration using ideal gas law. Now we have explained how to collect concentration versus time data. Now for obtaining these data we require reactor. Normally we use two type of reactor. Either we use batch reactor or flow reactor for obtaining concentration versus time data. Uh, for differential flow reactor use mainly for heterogeneous reactions like solid fluid reaction. The product concentration is usually monitored for different feed conditions, and measurement are made during steady state operation, because we have flow reactors, they normally operate under steady state operations. So we collect data at steady state condition. On the other hand, for homogeneous reactions we normally use batch reactor for obtaining data. So this batch reactor are primarily used to determine rate law parameter for homogeneous reaction by measuring concentration, pressure or volume at different time during the course of reaction. Then using different method of data analysis to determine the reaction order and rate constant. Data are collected from a batch reactor during unsteady state operation, because batch reactor is an unsteady state reactor. Here the concentration of reactant are decreasing with respect to time, because as time proceed the reactant consumed in the reactions and form product. So this the concentration varying with respect to time, so they are unsteady state operation, usually operated isothermally and at constant volume, because it is easy to interpret the result of such runs. Because if the system is non-isothermal, then the rate of reaction also depends on temperature, so it will make process more complicated. So for data analysis we maintain constant temperature. So these are some of the conversions for constant volume batch reactor. For example, the rate of reaction will be equal to rate of change of uh, mole of reactant per unit time in the reactor. So this will be equal to 1 upon V dNA by dt. If we take Ni upon V as a common term, then number of mole per unit volume is concentration, so this Ri will be equal to dCi by dt. Again for an ideal gas, PV equal to nRT, and N by V equal to C concentration. So this C will be equal to P by RT, and if we put this value in above equation, then finally we get this rate expression, Ri equal to 1 upon RT dPi upon dt. Here Pi is partial pressure of component I. These are some of other useful conversion. XA indicates the conversion. The conversion factor will be equal to initial number of mole minus final number of mole upon initial number of mole. So Na0 minus Na upon Na0. So if we simplify this equation by dividing and multiplying by V, then Na upon V number of mole per unit volume is concentration. So this XA will be this XA will be equal to 1 minus C upon Ca naught. And if we differentiate this equation, then dXA will be equal to differentiation of 1 equal to 0 and minus dCA upon Ca0. Again Ca equal to Pa by RT, or number of mole per unit volume, Na by V. So after obtaining concentration versus time data, we have to analyze these data in order to calculate the order of reaction and to find out the reaction rate constant. So there are several methods for obtaining these data, such as the differential method, integral method, method of half-life, method of initial rate, linear and non-linear method. Out of all these methods, the differential and integral method are most popular method for analyzing batch reactor data. And in today class, we mainly discuss about batch reactor data. So we will mainly focus on differential and integral method. So in integral method, we assume order of reaction. Either the reaction is following first order, second order, third order reaction. Like in this case, A is converting into product, so we assume the reaction is following first order kinetics. So the rate expression will be equal to minus Ra equal to Kca. After, so first of all we assume the order of reaction, then we integrate that equation and convert that equation in form of equation of line. So after integration, this is final equation. So this is equation of line. Now plot that equation and see whether it give a straight line or not. So this is graph of log 1 minus xa versus t. So if it give a straight line, it means the reaction, our assumptions is correct and reaction is of first order. But if it does not give a straight line, it means our assumptions is wrong and reaction is not following first order. Then we assume some other order, like for assume second order, third order, like that. So this is a trial and error method in which we try by using different order of reactions. On the other hand, in differential method, instead of assuming order of reaction, we assume the rate expression. Like in that case, we assume the rate expression is like that, dCA by dt equal to kCA power alpha. Alpha indicates the order of reaction. Now we convert that equation in terms of equation of line. For example, in this equation, if we take log on both sides, then this equation can be converted into this form, and this is equation of line. Here log of minus dCA by dt, this is y equal to this this c plus mx. So this is equation of line. Here see this log k is intercept and alpha is the slope of the line. and we plot that equation. And because this is equation of line, it means it should give a straight line. So we plot that equation and see whether it give a straight line or not. So if it give a straight line, then our rate assume rate expression is correct, and reaction is following this rate expression only. Otherwise we try for some other rate expression. So if it give a straight line, then slope of that line will be equal to for that particular case, the slope of that line will be alpha. So alpha is order of reaction. So in that way we can calculate the order of reaction. Similarly, its intercept is log k, and if we take anti-log of that value, then it will give value of rate constant. So in that way we can calculate order of reaction and rate constant. Now uh, again one more thing, here we have dCA by dt. uh, we know we obtain data of concentration versus time. Now first of all we have to also calculate dCA by dt. For calculating dCA by dt, first of all we have to plot a graph of concentration versus time, and by a free hand we have to connect all these points. Then the tangent line at a particular point in the graph will give dCA by dt. If we have concentration versus time graph, then tangent of that line will give dCA by dt. So we calculate dCA by dt at different positions, and then plot a table of dCA by dt and this CA, and then we plot this graph and see whether we get a straight line or not. And if we get straight line, our assume rate expression is correct. Otherwise we choose some another rate expression. So here you can see the slope of this line will give you the order of reaction. So that slope can be a fractional value also. So this method can be used for order having some fractional value. On the other hand, in integral methods, we assume order of reactions. So if the order of reaction having some fractional value, then it is very difficult to find that fractional value using integral method, because there are infinite number of possibility for a fractional value. So for that the differential method is more useful. Now if we compare these two methods, the integral method is easy to use. On the other hand, the differential method is more complicated and time consuming, because in differential method, first of all you have to plot a graph of concentration versus time to calculate dCA by dt. Then you have to assume rate expression, then you have to plot that expression and find out the order of reactions. On the other hand, in integral method you simply assume order of reactions and then integrate and plot that equation. That is simpler than differential method. So this integral method is more easy to use as compared to differential method. Second, it is useful for testing relatively simple rate equation. On the other hand, the differential method is useful for testing relatively more complicated rate equation. Like if you have some fractional value of order of reaction, or if you have very complicated rate expression like RA equal to CA upon 1 plus CA square plus B, like that. That is very difficult to solve by integral methods, but it is comparatively easy to solve that type of equation using differential method. Third, the advantage of integral method is that this is useful for scattered data. But on the other hand, in differential method require more accurate and large amount of data. The integral method can only test particular form of rate equation. On the other hand, differential method can be used to evolve the rate equation to fit the data. So, for example, if you have order of reaction is 1.62, so it's very difficult to solve by integral methods, because in integral method you assume order of reaction, we normally assume 1 2 3 like that for to test for fractional value it's quite difficult to find out exact value by trial and error method. On the other hand, this can be solved using differential method, because in that we calculate order of reaction by with the help of graph. Now we will discuss the integral method and differential method in detail. So first of all we will discuss about integral methods. So this is general procedure for integral method, in which first of all we guess a particular form of rate equations. I mean to say we have assume the order of reaction, and after appropriate integration and mathematical manipulation, mm, a graph of certain concentration function versus time yield a straight line. So the data are plotted. If a reasonable good straight line is obtained, then the rate equation is set to satisfactory and fit the data. If not, guess another form of rate equation. So it should be noted that the integral method is especially useful for fitting simple reaction type corresponding to elementary reaction. These are some of examples. For example, if we have a reaction in which A react to give product, then first of all we assume the reaction is following zero order. So for that the rate expression will be dCA by dt equal to RA equal to minus K, because it's zero order reaction, so RA will be equal to minus Ka. So if we integrate that equation, the final expression will be Ca equal to Ca0 minus Kt. This is equation of line. So if we plot that line, this concentration versus time, then slope of the line will be equal to minus Ka. And if it give a straight line, it means the reaction is following zero order kinetics. But if we do not get a straight line, then in second assumptions we can assume reaction is following first order kinetic. For first order kinetic, the rate equation will be Ra equal to minus Kca. Again, if we integrate that equation, we get finally this expression. And if we plot ln Ca naught upon Ca versus t, we get this graph having slope equal to k. And if it give a straight line, it means reaction, our assumptions is correct and reaction is following first order kinetic, and from the slope of the graph we can calculate k. But if it again not give straight line, it means our assumptions is wrong. Then we can make next assumptions as reaction is following second order kinetic. Then in that case rate expression is dCA by dt equal to minus k Ca square. So after integration we get this expression. Again if we plot 1 upon Ca versus kt, then 1 upon Ca naught will be the intercept and k is slope of that line. So if it give a straight line, then our assumptions is correct, and from the slope we can calculate value of k, order of reaction we assume 2. So but if the data do not fall on a straight line for alpha equal to 0 1 2, in that case the reaction is neither following zero order kinetic or first order kinetic or second order kinetic. Then we should stop guessing reaction order and proceed to either the differential method of analysis or to regression method. Now we will discuss several examples of solving equation for integral methods. Like for example, if we have irreversible bimolecular type second order reaction, so it's bimolecular irreversible reaction, it means A plus B react to form product P. So the reaction is second order, and it's first order with respect to A and first order with respect to B, and total order of reaction is 1 plus 1 equal to 2. So its rate expression will be K into Ca into Cb. Because 1 mole of A react with 1 mole of B to give product. So the amount of A and B consumed during the reaction will be same, or we can say Ca0 into Xa will be equal to Cb0 into Xb. So if we replace Ca and Cb, then Ca will be equal to Ca0 minus Ca0 Xa. Similarly, Cb will be equal to Cb0 minus Cb0 into Xb, but Cb0 Xb is equal to Ca0 into Xa. So finally we have Cb0 minus Ca0 into Xa. And if we this is Ca equal to Ca concentration of A at any time t. So this is initial concentration, Xa is conversion. So if we multiply Ca0 by its conversion, then it will give total amount of A consumed. Then this will if we take initial value minus total amount consumed, so it will give concentration at any time t. So we can replace this equation by this equation. And if we assume m equal to initial concentration of B divided by initial concentration of A, and in t, then this equation will be converted into this form. Now as you know, we have to integrate that equation. So rearrange that equation and integrate. So finally that equation will be this one. So if we integrate these equations, the final expression will be this one. So if we plot this equation, we can this versus this, then from the slope we can the slope of the line will be Ca0 m minus 1 into k. The Ca0 and m are known quantity, so we can from the graph from the slope we can calculate value of k. So this is a graphical representation. The slope is this one. The initial concentration of Cb0 and Ca0 are known quantity. So if we put that value, we can calculate the value of K. If this equation is following second order kinetic. But if we do not get a straight line, it means our assumptions is wrong, and we have to try using different rate expression or different order of reaction. Now we here are some special cases are given over here, like in the special case where reactant are introduced in their stoichiometric ratio, thus for second order reaction with equal initial concentration of A and B. Now the initial concentration of reactant are same. In that case, A plus B give product, and if we have same concentration of A and B and rate of consumption of A and B are also same, then we can rewrite that equation simply in this form: 2A give product, and then rate expression will be Ra equal to KCA square, or K into Ca naught square 1 minus Xa square. Again, if we integrate this these equations, this is our final expression. And if we plot these equations, then 1 upon Ca naught will be the intercept, and this K will be slope of the line. So from the graph we can calculate value of rate constant. In second special case, in that A plus 2B give product, but the order of reaction is again 2. So in that case the rate expression will be K equal to K into Ca into Cb, because order of reaction is 2. It's 1 with respect to A and again 1 with respect to B, but the stoichiometry is this: 1 mole of A react with 2 mole of B to give product 2. So now the rate expression will be Kca naught 1 minus Xa, but the rate of consumption of B is doubled as compared to A. So for B it will be M minus 2Xa. So this is our rate expression. So again if we integrate that equation, we finally get this form for M not equal to 2, and we get this form when we have M equal to 2. The next example is when we have irreversible trimolecular type third order reaction. So in that we have a trimolecular third order reaction. Here A plus B plus D react to give product. So the rate equation will be Ra equal to Kca into Cb into Cd. Again if we rewrite that equation in terms of conversion, that reaction will be converted into this form, and finally if we integrate that equation, this is our final expression. In the special case, in previous example, A plus B plus D react to give product, but if we have two component A and B, here A react with 2 mole of B give product. In that case the rate expression will be minus Ra equal to K into Cb square, and in terms of conversion, and this dxa by dt will be equal to kca naught 1 minus xa into m minus 2xa whole square. This m is initial concentration of B divided by initial concentration of A, Cb naught upon Ca naught. Oh, it's given over here. So if we integrate this equation, we finally get this expression for m not equal to 2, and if we have m equal to 2, then we will get this equation after we integrate this equation. On the other hand, if we have this rate expression where 1 mole of A react with 1 mole of B give product, but reaction is third order irreversible reaction where dependency of order with respect to A equal to 1, but order with respect to B is 2, then rate expression will be minus Ra equal to minus dCA by dt equal to kCa into Cb square. Again if we integrate that equation, we get this expression for m not equal to 1 and this expression for m equal to 1. Now in next example, we assume a homogeneous catalyzed reaction. So as you know, catalysts are used to enhance the rate of reaction because it decrease total activation energy required for necessary conversion. So some of the reactant present in the reactor are directly converted into product. On the other hand, some of the reactant attach with catalyst and then their activation energy decrease and they convert into product. So there are actually two reaction occurring in parallel. In first reaction, the reactant is directly converting into product, and in second type of reactions, reactant are first attached to the catalyst and their activation energy decreases and then they convert it into product. So there are two parallel reaction. So the total rate of conversion will be equal to rate of conversion due to first reaction plus rate of conversion due to second reaction. So the total rate of disappearance of reactant A will be equal to summation of these two reactions. So minus dCA by dt will be equal to K1Ca plus K2Ca into Cc. Here Cc is concentration of catalyst. So if we take Ca as a common term, then this rate will be equal to K1 plus K2Cc into Ca. Again, if we integrate that equation, we get this expression. So here you can see this is equation of line. So first of all, plot this minus ln Ca versus K observed T. So this is equation of line. So the slope of the line will give you value of K observed. Now in that way you calculate K observed. Now take these two values. Again this is this, if T is cancelled out, again this is an equation of line. Now perform a series of run with different catalyst concentration. This is equation of line K1 K2 C equal to K observed. Now perform different experiment with different catalyst concentration and plot K observed value against the catalyst concentration as shown in this figure. The slope of the slope of such a plot is K2 and the intercept is K1. This slope is K2 and intercept is K1. So in that way you can calculate value of K1 and K2 for a homogeneous catalyzed reaction. The autocatalytic reaction. So this is autocatalytic reaction in which A plus R to give R plus R. So here A is reactant and R is product. So A again attach with the product R to form more R. It means to initiate such reactions there should be some amount of product already present in the reactant, because product be attach with the reactant to form more product. So the rate expression for such type of reaction is minus Ra equal to dCA by dt equal to K into Ca into Cr. So because the total number of mole of A and R remain unchanged as A is consumed, because 1 mole of A react with 1 mole of R. So total number of mole is equal to mole A plus mole R, that is constant. So we can write C0 equal to Ca plus Cr. C0 is total number of mole at any time t. So that is constant. So this C0 equal to Ca plus Cr or Ca0 plus Cr0, that is constant. Then this Ra will be equal to Kca C0 minus Ca. If we put above this, Cr will be equal to C0 minus Ca from above equation. So we get this expression. So if we rearrange this equation and breaking into partial fraction, we get this equation which on integration give this expression. So in term of initial reaction ratio, that is m equal to Cr0 upon Ca0 and fractional conversion of A, this can be written as in this form. So the rate follow a parabola with a maximum where the concentration of A and R are equal. So this is graph between conversion and time. As you know, A react with product to give more product. So initially there are maximum reactant in the reactor and small amount of product is present. So only small reactant react with uh, product or attach with product to give more product. So initially the rate of reaction is very small, so this conversion is slowly increases, but as reaction proceeds more number of are formed in the reactant. Now more number of are available to attach with reactant A, so the rate of reaction increase exponentially. So here we have a large increase in rate of reaction, but after some time in as reaction proceeds, the reaction mixture mainly have R and small amount of A. Now there are only small number of A available to react with R, so again the reaction start declining, and when all the A consumed during the reaction, this reaction stop at x equal to 1, and this graph become flattened. And in the lower graph, as you can see, initially if we have the reaction start with some R present, so the reaction rate is very small, but as time proceed the R increases, and a time reach when there are equal number of A and R present in the reactor. So in that case all A so if A and R are present in equal quantity, then there are that all the A can attach with all the R. So in that case maximum amount of atoms are available to react with each other. So in that case the rate of reaction should be maximum. So the rate of reaction is maximum where Ca equal to Cr, and after that the concentration of Ca start decreasing, so there are small amount of Ca available to react with R, so reaction start rate start declining, and when all the A converting into R, this reaction rate become 0. So it's follow the reaction rate first increases, reach to a maximum value, then decreases and reach to 0 value for 100% conversion. If we have irreversible reaction in series, now for as you can see here, A first react to form R, then this R further react to form S. So the rate expression will be rate of disappearance of A will be equal to K1 Ca, and rate of formation of R will be equal to rate of formation of R minus rate of consumption of R due to secondary reaction. So K1 Ca minus K2 Cr. Similarly, rate of formation of S will be equal to K2 Cr. Now if we integrate equation 1, this will give ln Ca upon Ca naught K1T, or we can say Ca equal to Ca naught into e raised to power minus K1T. Now if we substitute the concentration of A from equation 4 to equation 2, then dCr by dt plus K2Cr equal to K1 Ca0 e raised to power minus K1T, which is a first order linear differential equation of this form. So you know how to solve this problem. So if we integrate this equation, this is final expression for concentration of R. So now we have calculated concentration of A, and here we have calculated concentration of R. Now this total concentration is constant because 1 mole of A react to form 1 mole of R, that again react and form 1 mole of S. So total number of mole is constant. Ca0, the initially we have concentration equal to Ca0, so this Ca0 will be equal to Ca plus Cr plus Cs, which with equation 6 and 4, this equation 6 and equation 4 give concentration of S. So this is concentration of S, concentration of A and R we already calculated. Thus we have found how the concentration of component A, R and S vary with respect to time. Now if these are special cases, if K2 is much larger than K1 in this equation, if K2 is much larger than K1, so what happened if K2 is much larger? So when any R formed, because K2 is very large, then this R immediately converted into S. So in that case, this concentration of R will be very less in the reactor. Or if K2 is very large, then this R concentration will be negligible. So if K2 is much larger than K1, then Cs will be equal to, so if we put this value in this equation, if K2 is much larger, then this K1 is negligible, and this value will be equal to 0, because this K2 is very large, so 1 upon some very large value equal to 0. So finally we have this expression. On the other hand, if K1 is much larger than K2, so if we put this in this equation, we get this expression. Cs will be equal to Ca0 or minus e raised to power minus K2t. So in that case, the first term will be 0. The time required to achieve maximum concentration of Cr can be found by differentiating equation 6 and setting dCr by dt equal to 0. The time at which maximum concentration of R occurs is thus. So to get the maxima, we have to differentiate this equation 6. So if we put dCr by dt, it will give maxima. So in that way we can calculate maximum concentration of R. So if we differentiate that equation with respect to time and put that value equal to 0, it will give maximum value. So this will give T maximum. T maximum is the time at which concentration of R is maximum. So in that way we can calculate T maximum. As you can see in this graph, the concentration of R first increasing, reach to maximum value, then start declining. So this point, the concentration, the time at which we reach maximum concentration is equal to T max. The maximum concentration of R is found by combining equations 6 and 7 to give this one. If we combine these two equations 6 and 7, we get this equation. The next example is if we have first order reversible reaction. In that case, A is converting into R due to forward reaction, and again R is converting into A due to backward reaction. So at equilibrium, if Kc is equilibrium constant, then Kc will be equal to K1 upon K2. And let's assume M equal to Kr0 upon Ca0. The rate equation is this one, the rate of forward reaction minus rate of backward reaction. And if we write this in terms of conversion, then K1 Ca0 minus Ca0 XA minus K2 M Ca0 plus Ca0 XA. Now, what happened at equilibrium? There is no change in concentration, so this dCA by dt will be equal to 0 at equilibrium. So if we take dCA by dt equal to 0, hence fractional conversion of A at equilibrium condition will be this one. If we differentiate this equation and put equal to 0, if we put this dCA by dt equal to 0, we can calculate equilibrium constant Kc equal to this CRE, equilibrium concentration of R upon equilibrium concentration of A, equal to m plus Xc upon 1 minus Xae. So if we combine these three equations, we obtain in term of equilibrium conversion. So this dxa by dt equal to k1 m plus 1 upon m plus xe into xe minus xa, which on integration give this. So in that way we can, if we plot this equation of ln 1 minus xa upon xe versus this right hand term, we can calculate value of equilibrium constant, because the slope is this one, m is known and equilibrium concentration we have calculated from this equation. So in that way we can calculate the value of k1. So in that way we can solve these equations. Like if we have zero order reaction, a reaction is of zero order when rate of reaction is independent of concentration of material. So this rate expression will be minus Ra equal to K only, and there are no concentration term because it's independent of concentration. Integrating and noting that Ca can never become negative, we obtain directly this. After integrating you get, and if you plot these equations you get these two values. Empirical rate equation of nth order. For nth order the rate expression will be this one and this one, and if you integrate that equation you will finally get this expression. Now there are other method for calculating order of reaction and rate constant. One is order of overall order of reversible reaction from half life T by 2. Half life is the time required for 50% conversion. So if you have this rate equation, and then in rate expression you can write like that, or you can write minus dCA by dt equal to k into CAN for a nth order reaction. So which on integration yield this one. For half life means the constant half of the reactant are converting into product. So if you take t 1 by 2 means half life time, and concentration is 0.5, so here you have put 0.5, so you will get this expression for half life period. Similarly, you can calculate fractional life method, in which this concentration is replaced by this F. F indicate fractional life method. F equal to Ca upon Ca naught, the fractional conversion. For a half life period, this F is equal to 0.5. So you will get this expression for fractional life method. So if you plot that equation and see the slope of that line, so if the overall order of reaction from a series of half-life experiment is at different initial concentration of reactant. So for order less than equal to 1, you will get this graph. Here slope is 1 minus n. On the other hand, for order equal to 0, you will get this line, and for order greater than 1 you will get this line. We are obtaining all this using this equation. Now we have discussed all these examples for constant volume batch reactor. Now on the other hand, if we have varying volume batch reactor, like if we have gas phase reactions in which number of mole involved in the reactant and number of mole formed in the product are different, then uh, there are change in volume or pressure during the reaction. So if we have that situation in which we have varying volume system, then let us assume the V0 indicates the initial volume of reactant and V is the volume of reactant at time t. So the volume is linearly related to conversion, then this V is equal to V naught 1 plus epsilon A XA, or this XA equal to V minus V naught into V naught into epsilon A, and if this dXA, if we differentiate this equation, then dV upon V0 epsilon A. Now what is epsilon? Epsilon is uh, the volume when all the reactant convert into product minus volume for zero conversion divided by volume for zero conversion, means when reactant only have when reactor only have reactants. And this Ca is equal to number of mole per unit volume, this Na equal to Na0 1 minus Xa, and V is equal to V0 1 plus ln A Xa, and this Na0 upon V0 equal to Ca0, so this Ca will be equal to Ca0 1 minus Xa upon 1 plus epsilon A Xa. Similarly, Ca upon Ca naught equal to 1 minus Xa upon 1 plus epsilon A Xa, or if we again rearrange that equation, this Xa will be equal to 1 minus Ca upon Ca naught upon 1 plus epsilon A Ca upon Ca naught. So these are very important expression, and I suggest you to memorize these values. Now for example, we have an isothermal gas phase reaction in which 1 mole of A react to form 4 mole of R. So the value of epsilon A will be equal to the volume when there are only product in the system minus volume when there is only reactant into the system upon volume when there are only reactant in the system. So we uh, what we say, Vxa minus Vxa0 upon Vxa0. So the number of product is here 4. So 4 minus the number of reactant is equal to 1 upon number of reactant is equal to 1. So this epsilon equal to 3. Because volume and number of mole are linearly dependent from ideal gas law, PV equal to nRT. So we can also write in terms of number of moles. So 4 moles of are formed with the help of 1 mole of reactant. So 4 minus 1 upon 1 equal to 3. So epsilon A equal to 3. On the other hand, if we have 50% inert in the system, in that case in the reactant we have 1 mole of reactant plus 1 mole of inert if we have 50% inert. So initial number of mole equal to 2. Similarly, after the reaction we have 4 mole of product plus 1 of mole of reactant, because inert do not participate in the reaction, so they will their composition will be as it is. So in the product we have 4 mole of R plus 1 mole of reactant, so total number of mole are 5. So if we calculate epsilon A, in the product we have 5 mole minus in the reactant we have 2 mole, so 5 minus 2 upon 2 equal to 1.5. So in this way we calculate number of mole. So this is end of today class. If you have any question or doubt, you can write in the chat box. Thank you.